Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to TinyTechGuides Talks, the future of B2B marketing, modern strategies for the age of generative AI. I'm super excited here to be joined with Kalyan Ramanathan, author of Modern B2B Marketing, a practitioner's guide for marketing excellence. Kalyan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. Very happy to be here this beautiful Halloween morning.
It is Halloween, and so I like to start. We have 5 questions that I'm going to ask you, and then you're going to get some 3 fun bonus questions at the end. But let's just start with your origin story. How did you get to where you are today? Your background's not in marketing. I looked at LinkedIn. I think you were an engineer by trade.
That's exactly right, David. I started my career, my God, many moons ago, as an engineer by education, I should say. And while I was an engineer, I used to work in chip design, working on tiny little things. And I always used to look at those marketing guys on the other side of the office way. And I would always say, man, they're having parties, they're having fun. And someday I want to be a marketing guy. And I had a manager who once told me, look, a vision without action is daydreaming, and an action without vision is nightmare. So he said, if you want to do something, go for it. And so I ended up getting an MBA, and then I moved over to the dark side. So I've been in marketing for over, I would say, 20 odd years now. And I've seen, every aspect of marketing, from the traditional, let's get on the phone and let's call a prospect and let's try to convert them into a customer, to digital marketing, which is all in vogue right now. So that's been the journey, man. It's been 20 long years living through the slog of marketing and learning it from the pit of marketing.
That's amazing. It's interesting that, we both started out in semiconductors. So you were on the design side and I was doing data analytics for semiconductors. So I find that a little bit, it's serendipity, I guess. So to your book, why did you write Modern B2B Marketing?
Yeah, in some sense, this was a paid forward book, right? So when I did my business school MBA many moons ago, and we were taught a lot of theory of marketing, in particular, Porter's 4 Ps, and how do you think about getting someone to be excited about your product, and a lot of theory, which I think over time I've learned doesn't quite stand the test of time, right? I mean, these things, the frameworks have changed quite a bit. The strategy and the tactics and the KPIs of marketing are so different now compared to what it was many years ago. And so what I wanted to do, and in this case, David, working with you, is to write a very practical book where you talk about what are the key KPIs that a marketing team should care about? How should they execute the marketing function? What strategies make sense today, given that there are so many more channels to talk and to engage with prospects and customers, right? And then finally, what I've also realized is that the marketing team is in some sense a merry band of people, right? I mean, many people with many different skills, and so in some sense, you need to rewrite what marketing is all about. And that was what we tried to, address with this book, a very practical way to think about marketing, the teams that are in marketing, and how they all come together to indeed make marketing successful within an organization.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I really enjoy about the book, Kalyan. I know we worked really hard to bring in sort of that real world experience we've had, and I think what we opened the book up with, I don't know how many years it was, in like 15 companies. So that is lots of experience for people to what is it like out there in the trenches. To that point, you've consulted with a large number of B2B startups in Silicon Valley. What's the number one question you get? And, when does startups get marketing right or perhaps wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, right? And I talked to many CEOs, early in their company journey and sometimes marketing journey. And the question that I always get from these companies is, what is more important? Is brand more important? Is messaging more important? What about demand gen campaigns? There's a lot of, I'd say internal debate, questions, sometimes chaos that comes, from people outside of marketing in particular, trying to understand, what is important in marketing. And I always tell these companies that, the first and perhaps the most important goal of marketing is really about generating revenue for the company, right?
Mhm.
It's all about being highly aligned to the go-to-market team and generating revenue, ARR, and in particular pipeline for the company. Honestly, if you're not generating pipeline for a company, and if that pipeline doesn't convert into revenue, what comes out of the marketing team is worth nothing, because frankly, your company itself may not be in business tomorrow. So let's not lose sight of what is most important for from a marketing KPI point of view, which is pipeline, the number one and the most important goal. And that's the reason why, David, when people ask me, what are you? I always say I'm a revenue focused marketeer.
Mhm.
I can do thought leadership, I can do messaging, I can do AR, PR, I can help out in campaigns, you name it. But at the end of the day, my number one KPI and the number one KPI of just about everybody in marketing ought to be around that most important goal, which is revenue and pipeline. So frankly, if you don't have that, you might as well pack your bags and go home.
Yeah, I get that question a lot as well, in my consulting world. And they're like, oh, how do you measure the value of, PMM team? And we've talked at length about this, Kelly, and it's like a glue function. And I'm like, well, you can talk about, are you ready? How prepared are you? But I say the same thing. It comes down to pipeline and revenue. You don't have any money.
Yeah,
Gonna go home.
The good thing is, David, that's a good measure that I also think applies, up and down, and and just about everybody in the marketing team, right? It's a good glue to make sure that we are all focused, with the eye on the price, which is helping sales sell more and helping the company succeed, and that sort of helps also make marketing very strategic within an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm going to be the first to mention this, Kalyan. Generative AI. It's hugely popular out there. And so, what's your, perspective on, how perhaps the marketing function will evolve? And should I be worried? Should marketers be worried about generative AI?
Well, that's a mic drop moment, David. I mean, let's all close up the marketing shops and go home. No, look, I mean, in all seriousness, though, right? Look, generative AI is, it's definitely a game changer for marketing. And the gen in generative AI starts with content, and content is the staple of marketing, as you know. Generative AI can create, better content, or I should at least say more refined content than perhaps many humans can, right? So all you have
Sure.
to do is give a generative AI system a few bullets, and it can write a great blog. You can give it a few details about a customer, provide it a template of what a customer case study looks like, and it can create a customer case study for you in half or 1/4 time it might take a human to put it together. Generative AI can also respond to customers and sales emails better than salespeople can, right? I mean, so
Sure.
gone are the days where we're going to create and sit down and create laborious sales cadences, right? I mean, it can be done much faster and much more efficiently with generative AI. So in some sense, right, I mean, generative AI is definitely a game changer for us. But at the end of the day, it is a tool. And, you got to remember that, tools need people to drive it. Tools need people to govern it. And so, we should not think of generative AI as something, anything more than a set of utilities, like there are many utilities in marketing. These utilities will and tools can help us do these baseline tasks and activities in a much more efficient way. And it allows us to evolve to focusing on, bigger tasks and bigger automations, which can now happen in marketing, which couldn't have happened in the past. Imagine trying to create a customized dashboard, depending on the type of customer who comes up to your website today. That task would have required, hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars to customize and create and whatnot. And that can be created by generative AI, very quickly now. So again, if you think of it as a tool that can allow you to customize and engage and more creatively and more efficiently, deliver experiences to your customer, that's the ultimate lock that generative AI can provide you.
Yeah, it certainly can do things, much faster. I just hope companies don't use it sort of as a crutch. You have to have a unique perspective on the world, and or else you regress to the mean. You're saying the same thing as everybody else is saying, and I think people got to be very wary of that, because I read a lot of blogs and content. I can tell when it's written by generative AI, and it's generally uninformative to me. It's boring. It's not that exciting to read.
Yeah, I mean, I think David, you and I have spent a fair amount of time in generative AI, right? I mean, at the end of the day, generative AI does not, excuse you from not having a point of view. It does not let you off the hook in terms of having something unique to bring to the market. So I think you do need that human governance and that human input into a generative AI system. And you need to differentiate, and that differentiation comes from the way you look at the market and what you bring to the generative AI system, which can then, obviously take it and put some nice creative words and images around it.
Sure. All right, Kalyan, that's a great response there. Fifth question here, last one, and we're going to get to the bonus questions. For people that are, perhaps early in their career or even experienced professionals, what's the key takeaway you want them to get, from this fantastic book that you wrote?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'll tell you, for people who are looking for a job in marketing in particular, right? I mean, this book, does a really good job of explaining the various facets of marketing, right? I mean, marketing is not a monolith function. It's there are many components that makes up marketing, everything from, comms and AR and PR to demand gen to product marketing to operational marketing ops and operational marketing. So marketing is indeed that merry band of many skill sets. And if you are someone who is very thought leadership and communications driven, you have a home in marketing. If you are very focused on product and messaging and positioning, there is a place for you in marketing. If you are someone who knows how to execute things well, you have a demand gen function, and that could be a great home for marketing. Or finally, if you're someone who loves numbers and wants to look at numbers and slice it 10 ways to Sunday and analyze data in many forms, you have a role as a marketing ops person within marketing itself. So marketing is indeed provides a home for many different skill sets, and within that organization itself. But there is a common thread across all of these things, right? And that's the buyer journey, and that's the buyer journey that kind of pulls together all of these elements and helps build a pipeline and the revenue for the company. And so what I would like anyone who is early in their marketing career to take away from this book is that hey, marketing is a great home that allows you to really hone your skill sets in many different dimensions and ultimately become a very seasoned marketeer. So there's definitely a lot for anyone who is starting out early in their career within the marketing domain, and it truly can allow you to either blossom in one particular domain or become a generalist and become someone who was good at many different functions within marketing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I find to your point, there's something for everybody. You're good with you can be creative or very quantitative, and there's a
Yeah.
role for you. Like I never want to do a pricing project again. I'll tell you that right now. But you can cannibalization, understand all that. For the more mathematically inclined folks, there's roles out there for you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and I think that's the beautiful thing about marketing, right, David? You don't get cubbyholed into doing just one thing, right? I mean, you're not just writing code as you might be if you're an engineer, or you're not just, talking to customers as you might be if you're in the sales organization. Marketing allows you to try many things, and hopefully you're in a company where you do have that opportunity of spreading your wings and trying out a few things. And then finding out what is the thing that really sings to you, and then
Sure.
really becoming an expert at that in that world.
Well, and to your point, how you opened this, when you were engineer and chip design, and you look at the marketing people having fun, a great thing if you work for the right company, the events or marketing, it's like golf. It's always in a wonderful, usually beautiful location. So the travel's not bad as well.
Yeah. But I mean, I do want to caution people who look at marketing as purely an events or a glamorous role. Know that behind all these glamorous roles, there is hard work involved, right? I mean, the people who are setting up those golf events are doing a lot of work, and to make sure that it is a success. So there is work involved, but
Oh yeah.
but without a doubt, there is a lot of fun and enjoyment, not just in executing some of these things, but also seeing a positive outcome out of many of these activities.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Kalyan. Well, that's exactly right. Are you ready for the Tiny Tech Guides top 3 bonus questions?
Holy macaroni, David! I knowing you, I know these questions are going to stump me, so I'm as ready as I can ever be.
All right, the first one: if you could travel back in time and pitch a modern product to someone from the past, what would you pitch them, and how would you explain it to them?
Oh, David, that's a good question. Look, I'm a Tesla bigot. I'm a Tesla fanboy. I love my Tesla. And I know you don't have an electric car. And I know there are many people who don't have electric cars, especially people who live in, anywhere outside the valley bubble, right?
Well,
And
they're not suited for the cold, Kalyan. They can't.
there
They
you
drive
go.
off the road with the ice on them.
Yeah. So, I would definitely pitch a Tesla to you, man. And the way I would do it is, look, friends don't let friends drive, non-EV cars anymore. So riff on the old, friends don't let friends drive drunk story. But look, at the end of the day, I mean, we are living in a world that is, that has climate problems, that where fossil fuels are indeed, only aggravating the situation that we already are in right now, and we all have to move to better and more, climate and perhaps I would say there's even cost efficient, options when it comes to automobiles and Tesla and EV cars of any kind, right? You don't have to buy a Tesla; you can buy a GM, Ford, you name it, right? I mean, they're truly game changers, right? So these cars are helping us, make a significant dent in, in climate change. And, we want to leave this world a better place for our kids. And I think, driving better cars is definitely a first and good start. Now, I will say one other good reason for buying a Tesla, David. I've always told you, it's like, what the Tesla does, right? I mean, every morning that I go to my Tesla and it's parked actually right outside on my driveway. it's really brought technology to cars, right? I mean, unlike my traditional cars where the car hasn't changed and the car doesn't change in forever. Every morning when I go to my Tesla, I see yet another update, right? I mean, it's got some app, it's got some new feature that the car has now because it's being updated over the air, and now I have this new gizmo for Halloween, or I have yet another app for Christmas in the car itself. So So in some sense, the car is almost an evergreen car. I mean, it's always improving. It's always getting better. There are always new things to discover and experience in this car. So in some sense, the Tesla has, it has almost made a car into an iPhone. I
That's
look
true.
forward to driving that car and seeing what's new in the car every time I get into that automobile.
All right. Well, as long as we'll talk about privacy in a different episode, all the tracking and hacking that's going on with the cars. But all right, bonus question number 2. You've just accepted a new job as Chief Marketing Officer, and this company sells invisible socks. What's your
Wow.
What's your first marketing move?
Holy macaroni. I would have started out with the usual thing, better content, campaigns and this and that and whatever else. But I'll start with maybe a pricing promotion here.
Okay.
Buy one invisible sock, get 2 invisible socks free.
That's perfect. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
So, at the end of the day, it's all funny money, and it's all funny products in this case too. So, you send me funny money, I'll send you funny products.
All right. I love it. All right. The last bonus question here. Let's imagine you're in the 1980s. Let's think about dial-up internet or 90s and fax machines. If you had to run a marketing campaign, what is your strategy?
Interesting. Look, David, I come back to something that I think we had also mentioned in the book, right? Which is that, campaigns in particular, right? We have this fascination with the latest greatest thing, right? I mean, we got to do digital campaigns. We've got to do campaigns on social media. Hey, TikTok is happening. Now we need to do a TikTok campaign. I think it's very easy to get caught up in what's the latest buzz, and there's companies and as a CMO, you definitely do have to constantly be up to date and up to speed on new ways of engaging with your customer. But I still believe that some of the traditional ways of reaching out to a customer, that plain old telephone line. I wish I had one of those plain old telephone lines here with me, but I'm speaking from my home office, so I obviously don't have one. But this phone out here, right, that I'm holding in my hand, and imagine it being connected to a cable somewhere and to a phone line somewhere. That still has value, man. Picking up a phone and talking to a prospect or a customer, engaging with people in a real way, asking them how is their morning been, and what are the problems that they are facing in their day-to-day business, rather than trying to do this via a cutie TikTok video or an email that comes from pretty much an anonymous email address. I still think that has merits, right? People buy from people at the end of the day. People buy from other people who can, communicate in very human and very, very empathetic way. So I still think that phone has value. I still think that human voice has value. I still think reaching out and touching someone has value, right? So I would say, don't give up on that phone yet. You still need that phone. You still need to reach out to people. And you still need to have that communication, because at the end of the day, you're selling to a human on the other end, and he or she wants to hear you. And that's the only way you're going to, do well in your campaign. So it's a combination of, everything, right? It's not to say that, digital is not important. It's not to say that your latest TikTok campaigns won't give you that engagement, but don't throw out your phone, because you still need that human engagement.
All right, I like that. Don't lose the human connection. I think the phone is definitely still relevant. Well, Kalyan, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. For folks that don't have it, grab a copy of the Modern B2B Marketing book. It's available wherever fine books are sold. So, Kalyan, thank you for joining us, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, David. And I love your 3 stump me questions.
No problem. Anytime. All right. Cheers.
Bye.